He comes over and opens the door of my car, and he said, "You need to remove yourself from the vehicle or my dog will bite you." A friend of mine that went to Clemson took a job in Mexico. We needed a car for an event later this year, sometime next year, and we decided that we were going to buy a car in Mexico. We found a 1977 Dodge Dart station wagon outside of Monterrey and Saltillo. I get on a plane, I fly down, I walk outside the airport, and immediately is Mexican military on the back of pickup trucks. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what have I done? Got to see lots of cars that you don't see in the US. The Pacheros are down there, some little Suzuki. Do a little sightseeing around Mexico. We know that we've got to clean the car before we can take it across the border. So we go back to his house. We spend 2 days with a pressure washer that we bought at Lowe's underneath the car on a jack in the parking lot, trying to get all the dirt out of it, get everything cleaned out. We check the water, change the oil, do all these things, because I'm driving it back to South Carolina from Saltillo, Mexico. Now it's the day that we're leaving. We load up 2 cars. One is a South Carolina van. That's the van in Mexico, following me in the Mexican station wagon. To leave each county, there's a toll booth and you have to pay. We get to the Laredo border. As I pay the toll, I hear a noise and see smoke. And I said, oh crap, I overheated. We don't have a temperature gauge in the car. I don't know what's going on. We blew a radiator hose at the last checkpoint before we get to the border. So we look up Advance Auto, just one down the road. We walk in. It's just a main radiator hose. Walk into the Advance Auto, and they say, they have a radiator hose for a 1977 Dodge Dart. Form, fit, and everything, but it's not there. It's at the other Advance Auto. So we go to the other Advance Auto, we get our radiator hose. Now I've been into I've been into the border town. So I've seen, on our way back, we had to stop and get water. Went to the grocery store. There's a guy guarding the exit to the grocery store with a mini machine gun, just like with his hand on it, just standing there. And I'm like, this is a little weird. We fix the car, get the hose back on it, fill it up with water. We don't worry about anything else, and we start driving. I'm a little freaked out because I've seen things now that I probably would have never noticed as I had just been driving. So I'm really conscious of the vehicles sitting on the side of the road. Now that I know that the river's right there, and there's vehicles off in the woods, and there's this and there's that, and I'm uneasy about it. And then the van gets pulled over. I pull over behind the van. They pull off to the side, I pull off to the side. In normal fashion, you want to take a photo of the event, and I took a photo in the mirror of him pulled over in the van by the police. And I sit and wait. A few minutes later, my friend comes up, gets me out of the car. He said, hey, did you take a photo of the policeman? I said, yeah, it's in my phone. He said, well, you're going to have to go show them that you delete that photo. So walk back to the car, reach in, I show him my phone, I hit delete, and then I walk away. It's 2,000 peso bribe for taking their picture. And it was just, what the heck is going on? So now we're back on our way, getting closer and closer to the border. And I start noticing there's a lot more cops. There's a lot more military. There's a lot more of everything. If you see a crossing, where you could do a U-turn in the middle of the highway, on the guardrail's a young kid with a radio. At every one of those U-turns, and everywhere that you could pull off on the side of the road, like a little shack or just a place to, like if you broke down, there's a guy with a gun at every one of these things, because right there's the river. It's just getting more and more uneasy, and it's getting more and more crowded, and more things that we see that we're always worried about in the news. So my buddy dips off because he doesn't want to go to the border. He waits in a parking lot. He tells me, go on. In the meantime, before going to Mexico, I'd called Border Patrol in Laredo 10, 15 times to make sure we had everything we need. What paperwork do we need? Do I have all the paperwork? Do I have everybody's driver's license? Do I have photos of everything? Where am I supposed to go? What's the process like? And I get different answers from everybody. If you want to take a car to Mexico, it's really easy. You want to get a car out of Mexico, it's really hard. So I know I have to go to bridge 2. I saw the main bridge, and I knew that was not the bridge to go to. So I saw the other bridge. It had some words that sounded official in Spanish that I don't speak, but looked official. So I said, oh, that's my bridge. So I take that bridge. There's a guard check to pay a toll. They ask me for paperwork. And I show them the paperwork I have for the car, and they tell me I'm at the wrong gate, that I need to turn around and go back into town, which I did not want to do. They're like, go back into town, go out, go back into town, turn around, come back and go the other bridge that you passed on your way. And I'm on my way out to go back into the town off of the border bridge. And I get stopped by the Mexican army. They point me to the side to search the car. So now the Mexican army is searching the car. The key on the back hatch, where the wagon, doesn't have a lock. And the only way to open it is with a screwdriver. But the one military guy is going through my bags. The other guy's yelling at me to open the hatch. And I don't speak Spanish. It takes a screwdriver. And I go to get the screwdriver out of the glove box, and I've got the screwdriver in my hand. The guy in the back is yelling at me over my ear, like behind me this way. This guy's talking to me about what's in my bag this way, and I'm sitting there with a screwdriver. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get killed. Like, they don't know. I can't tell them what the screwdriver's for. But I never had to open the back. They climbed back there themselves and looked around. Then they told me to go on, and I went on in the city, came back around to the right gate. I finally paid the toll to get on the import bridge. I'm sending photos to my buddy, keeping him updated. I send a photo of where I'm on the bridge halfway across the river where it turns from Mexico to U.S. And I'm like, I'm in the U.S. now. I'm almost there. And in front of me is, there's like 20 gates. None of them, I think, are where I need to be. Except there's this one that says something about papers. I mean, some of it's English, some of it's not. Some of it's fast pass, some this and that. I go, I'll just go to the one with the fancy sign. Keep on going, bloom, bloom, bloom. The whole time I'm scared to turn the car off because I'm afraid the hose is going to bust, or I don't even know if I want to turn it off for that, or if I just want to leave it running, but I don't know if it's overheating because I don't have a temp gauge, and I'm like, well, it's not steaming, so every once in a while I'll turn it on, turn it off. But it's also 106 degrees and we don't have air conditioning. Sit in line. And the other thing about if I overheat, I'm blocking all these people that are going to be really pissed off. I get up to the checkpoint. I get to the gate. The lady asked me what I'm doing. And I said, well, I'm importing a car. Here's my passport. Here's all my paperwork. She says, you're on the wrong bridge. And I said, well, what bridge am I supposed to be on? She says, bridge 2. And I said, well, I was on bridge 2. They sent me over here to you. I said, I just went through all that. And what do I do? You're going to turn me around and I have to go back? She's like, give me just a minute. She's in the booth with her stuff, and the drug dogs walk around. First drug dog walks around, and I'm watching him. He sits down next to my driver's door. I don't know a lot about police dogs, but I understand that like airport dogs and drug dogs and bomb dogs, they don't bark, they sit. And I'm like, what did I do? So I watched the guy play with the dog a little bit with a ball, and then he lets the dog come back. Dog walks around the car, dog sits down at the driver's door. Plays with the dog goes away. Another dog comes. This dog sits down at the back driver's door. I don't know what that lady's doing with the paper anymore. I'm worried about what these guys are going to find in this Mexican station wagon that we bought for $3,500. The Border Patrol guy, he comes over and opens the door of my car, and he said, you need to remove yourself from the vehicle or my dog will bite you. And I said, okay. And I got out of the car. And both of those dogs walked all around inside that car. They looked under the seats. No one ever opened the hatch. No one ever looked in the cubby compartments. No one ever looked where the spare tire. No one ever looked in any of that. They just let the dogs walk around. And keep in mind, on the passenger side of the roof of this car, someone keyed in the roof at some point in its life, in Spanish, those drugs. In the roof of our station wagon. And this is happening to me, and this is on the roof, and I just don't know what to do about it. The lady that has all my paperwork, she walks over to me. She hands me my papers, and she said, carry on. I said, do I need anything from you? She said, no, just go. I said, just go. She's like, you're good, just go. And I went, okay. I drove down the road, found the first place I could find that said Texas, which is a furniture store, pulled in front of it, took a picture of the car, sent it to my buddy. I said, good news, I'm in America. The bad news, the car's not. It's here, but it's not legal. As far as I know, I don't have anything. And I really didn't. She didn't. I just had forms that we filled out. And as far as I knew, that wasn't the whole thing. But I had the car. It's in the US. We don't care anymore. It's got insurance. We're good. Luckily, Greer, South Carolina has an inland port. Border Patrol agent was very helpful and finally got the car there. The VIN was interesting because there's no VIN. There's a VIN, but it's not. There's a place that a VIN plate goes, but there's no VIN. It's just like on the dash up in the window. There's nothing there. There's a stamp on the firewall that has the VIN number, which is only 5 digits. There's a stamp on the firewall, but at some point someone retrofitted AC and drilled holes through the VIN number. So that kind of tells us that a part of the number is there, so we know that that's right. And then there's a tag, a service tag that Border Patrol, we actually never found it. The Border Patrol found a service tag that was riveted on the top of the firewall that just so happened to have all but 1 digit of the VIN. It had the last part of it, not the first part. And he was able to say, yeah, this is that car. We have the original paperwork from the check that was written to the dealer to all 7 owners, all the way up to us. But down there, they don't have titles either, so we still don't have a title. But that Border Patrol agent was able to get me the proper paperwork, get me legally in the US, certified the car that it can permanently stay as a US citizen. Now we just have to take it on more adventures.
If you're ready for your next adventure, you're gonna need the right car, and the best way to buy your next car is with the help of Premier Financial Services. The simple lease from Premier Financial is the most powerful tool in the world of exotic car financing. You get all the benefits of a traditional loan, like the ability to accumulate equity, pay it off at any time, and they give you a perfectly easy to understand amortization table, but you also get the benefits of a lease, the low payment, the flexible terms, the low down payments, but also you get to use some certain tax benefits that leases entitle you to. They've taken great care of me, and I know they'll take great care of you, so check them out now at the link in the description below.